Hey guys, in this video we're going to be creating a user management application using Node.js, Express, and Redis. Okay, Redis is an open source database / caching system. If you haven't watched it already, I would suggest watching my Redis crash course, which is the video before this, just to get familiar with what Redis is and also talk about some of the data types and some of the commands. All right, it's not required that you watch that before watching this, but I think it'll give you a better understanding to what Redis is. Alright, I'll also show you how to install it because I already have it installed. If you're using Linux Ubuntu, you can use your apt-get packager. If you're using Mac or Windows, you can go to redis.io, click on download, and you can download the tar file here. But if you're on Windows and you want the installer, you need to go down to where it says Windows and click Learn More. And then from the GitHub page, you want to go to this release page link, and then you can download the MSI file right here. Alright, so just get that installed, set up, and you should be good to go. Alright, and obviously you need to have Node.js installed as well. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm in my projects folder, and I'm just going to create a new directory for this project, and I'm just going to call this red users for Redis users, and we're going to cd into red users, and then we want to create a package.json file, and we can do that with npm init. Alright, so let's just enter through these. Description, I'll just say simple user management app. Entry point is going to be app.js. Okay, I'm going to put my name here. Feel free to put your own, and that should create it. Alright, so I'm going to open that folder in Atom. I'm using Atom, but obviously you can use whatever you'd like. Let's see, red users. Alright, so let's open that up, and there's the package.json file. And what I'm going to do here is just create a start script. And we want to change this to node app. Okay, so that will allow us to run npm start to start the application. Alright, so let's save that, and we're going to install our dependencies. So let's see, we're going to need a couple things here. We're going to need Express, we're going to need Body Parser, we're going to need Redis. Let's see, we're also going to use method override. And what that does is it allows us to make a delete request from a form, okay? Because normally you can't do that. You can only make get or post. And then what else? We also want Express handlebars. That's what we're going to use for a template engine. And I think that's it. So let's do -- save and get that stuff set up. And they should be added to our package.json file as dependencies. Okay, so now if we look in dependencies, we have all those modules we just installed. Alright, so now we're going to create our app.js file. This is the main entry point. We're going to bring everything in. Let's say Express, and we want to require Express. We're also going to bring in the Express handlebars template engine, so let's say expHBS. Okay, and that's going to be Express-handlebars. We also want the path module, which is a Node.js core module. And we want to bring in body parser. Let's see, body parser, and let's see, method override. Let's do method override and set that to require method override. Okay, and then finally we want to bring in Redis. Alright, so now we brought in everything. Now let's go ahead and set our port. So let's say const port, and we'll set it to 3000. Alright, and then let's init the app variable. So we'll say const app, set that to Express. Okay, then we also need to set up our view engine. So we'll say app.engine, and we're going to pass in here handlebars, and then we want to call that expHBS and pass in some curly braces and the default layout, which is going to be main. Okay, so this means that the layout we're going to use has to be called main.handlebars, and then we simply need to do an app.set, and let's set view engine, and let's set that to handlebars. Alright, and then let's set up the body parser. Okay, this is just standard middleware. Same stuff you'll find on their documentation. So let's say body parser.json, and one more line is going to be body parser.url, what is it, URL encoded, and then we'll just pass in here extended and false. Okay, this is just your standard middleware. And we also want to add a line for method override. So let's say app.use, and we're going to pass in method override, and then we just want to add in here underscore method. This is the parameter we need to use when we're making our requests, so that we can make a delete request with a form. Okay, so that should do it for the module middleware. Now we're going to create our route to the home page. So it's going to be a get request to slash, and then we want to run a function which is going to take in the request, the response, and next, and then we just want to load a template. So we can say res.render, and the home page is going to render a template called search users. Okay, then we just need to listen on our port. So we're going to pass in the port number, which we defined above, and then we'll have a function run when we're connected, and we're just going to console.log, and we'll say server started on port, and then we'll just concatenate that port number. Alright, so let's save that, and then we're going to create a views folder, and in here we're going to create a layouts folder, and in the layouts we're going to create a file called main.handlebars. Okay, and this is going to be our main layout. So let's put some HTML in here, and let's say red users management, and we're going to use Bootstrap. I'm actually going to use Boot Swatch, which is just a custom version. So let's see, we're going to grab one of these themes. You can use whatever you want. I'm going to use this Flatly and click download, and then I'm just going to copy the CSS link up here, and then we'll put that over here. Style sheet href, and let's paste that in. Alright, so that should do it for the head. Now for the body, all we're going to do is right now is do this triple curly brace and then body. That's the express handlebars syntax to load the view. So whatever view we're looking at is going to be loaded right here, and everything else will be on every single page. Alright, so let's save that, and then we're going to create our search users view. Search users.handlebars. Whoop. Should be handlebars. Okay, and in here for now I'm just going to say search users and save. Alright, so we should be all set to run it. Let's go to our terminal, and we're going to run npm start. What did I do? Do I have something running? Looks like I have something running on. Oh, okay, I gotta stop that. Alright, let's try it again. Okay, port 3000, so let's go to localhost 3000. Whoops. And we get search users, so it's loading that template up, which is exactly what we want. Alright, so we're going to have a Navbar, so I'm going to go to getbootstrap.com and go to Getting Started and go to Examples, and then this starter template, click on that, and then we're going to do a Control U and just grab this nav here, this nav tag. Copy it, and then we're going to go to main.handlebars and put it right above the body. Okay, because we want this on every page. I'm going to change a couple things. I'm going to get rid of this fixed top class, and we're going to use Navbar default and change the project name. We'll say Red Users Management. And let's see, we're going to have a home link, which will go to slash, and then we're also going to have add user, which is going to go to /user/add. Okay, we'll create that later and get rid of the contact. Okay, and then the body down here, I just want to wrap that in a container. Oops. Container class, and put the ending div. Alright, so that should be all set. Let's save that and take a look. Reload, and there we go. So we have a Navbar. Now what we want to do is create the search form here, which is just going to be the ID. We're going to be able to search users by their ID. So let's go into searchusers.handlebars, which is right here. Alright, and let's see, what do I want to do here? Let's put an H1. We'll just say search users. And let's see, we're going to put form. I'm going to give it a class of form inline, which is a bootstrap class. And we're going to give this a method of post, because we're making a post request. And then action, it's going to go to /user/search. Okay, and then in here, let's put a div. Give it a class of form group. All right, and we're going to put a input. Oops. And type text. The name is going to be ID, and then get rid of this value. We're going to have a placeholder, and let's say search users by ID. Okay, and I think, oh, and let's put a class as well. We're going to give it a class of form control, which will make it look good. All right, and then under this div, let's put our submit. So we'll say type submit and give it a class of btn and btn primary, and value is going to be search. Okay, so that's our form. Let's save it. Okay, there it is. Pretty simple. So what we want to do now is catch the request. We're making it to user/search, a post request. So we'll go back to app.js, and let's go under the home route. Let me just put a comment here. Search page. And then this is going to be search processing. So let's say app.post, because it's a post request, and it's going to /user/search. Okay, then we'll have our function with request, response, and next. And then what we want to do here is grab the ID from the form. So we're going to put that in a variable called ID, and we can get it with request.body.id. All right, once we have the ID, we're going to start to use Redis. So we need to create a client. Okay, so all we have to do here is create a variable, and we're going to set it to redis.createClient. All right, and then we're just going to take that client, and we're going to say .on, and we want to say .on connect. Okay, so when we connect to Redis, we're going to run this function, and let's just do a console.log, and we'll say Redis, or we'll say connected to Redis. Alright, so let's just save that and make sure that that works. So if we reload the server, now you see we have connected to Redis. Okay, so we can now use that client to run commands. Now, when we submit this, we're going to run a function called, or a command rather, called hgetAll. So let's look that up. And this is going to return all fields and values of a hash stored at a certain key or an ID. Okay, so let's say client.hgetAll. Okay, and we're going to pass in that ID, and then we're going to have a function, and that function is going to have an error if there is one, and then give us an object. Okay, then we're going to check to see if that object is not there, so if not obj, and let's put an else. So if it's not there, what we want to do is just re-render the search form. So res.render, and we're going to render search users again, and we're also going to pass along an error. So let's put an object here and say error, and set it to user does not exist. Okay, so that's what will happen if there is no user with that ID. If there is, then we're going to, what are we going to do? We're going to take that object and we're going to assign it, we're going to assign an ID property to ID. Okay, and then we're going to res.render a details page. So details, we haven't created this yet, we will. And let's pass along the user, which will be that object. Alright, so that'll search for the user. If it's not found, it'll just re-render search users with this error message, and then if it does, then it's going to render details with that user data. Okay, so for this error to show up, we need to put that in our search users template. So we're going to go right up here, and let's see, we're going to put an if statement here. So let's say hash if error. Then we want to put out, let's just do a span, and we're going to say put our error here, and then close that span, and then close that if. Alright, save that, and then let's reload our server, and that should at least work if there's no user. So we'll just put anything in there, and you'll see user does not exist. Okay, so if it does exist, it's going to render details. So let's create that view. Details.handlebars. And let's see, in here we're going to put in h1. And I want to put the user's first name and last name. So we should be able to say user.firstname. User.last name, and then let's put the ID in a set of brackets. Okay, so that'll be the h1. Then we're going to have a ul with a class of list group, and in here we'll put an li, and let's put strong tag. And this will be the email. User.email. And let's do the same thing for the phone number. Okay. And then let's also put a back button. So a class btn default. And then we'll put an href, which will just go to slash. Okay, so let's save that. And now we don't have any users in our database. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to exit out of our server for a minute, and we're going to go into redis-cli. And from here, we're going to add some users. So we're going to use the hm_set command, and what we can do is hm_set and then the hash, which is going to be the ID, and then we'll have our fields, so email, phone, and so on. Alright, so I'm going to say hm_set user 001, that's the ID format we're going to have, and then let's set the first name. So first name we'll set to, actually, you know what, that needs to be no quotes. First name, and then the value should be in quotes, so John, and then let's say last name, Doe, email, and phone. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. We get OK. Let's add another one. So I'm just going to change this stuff up. We'll say this is Tom Smith. Last name Smith. And Tom. Okay, so now we have two users. So let's start our application back up. Oh, we got to get out of Redis first. Control C. Alright, so let's go back to our app and let's go ahead and search for user 001. Oh, you know what? I didn't change the ID for the other one. So, so Tom overwrote John, but you can see it is working. I actually want to put a class on these LIs though. So this is going to be list group item. There we go. All right, so we have one user of Tom Smith. So we're going to now add the functionality to create a user through the application. All right, because we don't want to keep having to use Redis CLI. So let's create a new view. So we'll say, let's just call this add user.handlebars. All right, and then let's copy the search form here. Okay, we can get rid of this if. Actually, no, we'll keep it. That way, if we need to output an error, we can. And then let's say add user. And this is going to go to user/add. All right, and then let's put a label with this for first name. And then we'll change, actually, you know what? We're going to keep the ID field, so let's actually make this ID. And then placeholder, we'll just say add ID. And let's copy this form group a few times. So this one will be first name. Say over here, we'll just say first name. Sorry about that texting. Let's see, first name, last name. Oh, I keep doing that. Last name. I can't type. Placeholder. And then we'll have email. Change the name to email. And then phone. Okay, and then we have our submit. Let's change the search. Change that to save. All right, save that, and then we need to add a route so that we can show the form. So let's go back to app.js, and we'll just copy this. Let's paste that in, and this is going to be add user page, and this will be /user/add. I believe that's what I did in the Navbar. Let me just check. Yeah, user/add. And all that's going to do is render the add user view. Okay, let's save that, and we'll have to restart this server. And let's go to add user. Why does that look like that? Oh, I think I have the inline. Yeah, we want to remove the inline class. There we go. So there's our add user form. Now this is going to be posted to /user/add. So let's go back to app.js, and we're just going to copy this. And let's say process add user page. So we want to change this to a post because it's a post request. Get rid of that. And then we want to grab all the form fields. So let's create variables for those. Request.body.id. And then we'll just copy this. Okay, we'll also have first name. You guys can add more fields if you want. And let's see, email. And we want one more. Oh, no we don't. Just do that. I'll get rid of that. So, and this one will be phone. Okay, so there's our variables. Now we want to call the hmset command for Redis. Alright, just like we did in the CLI. Okay, so many of these commands are available with the driver. So we just have to do client.hmset, and we're going to set the ID, and then pass in these brackets. Actually, we need to put a comma there. Let's see, in these brackets, let's do first name, and we're going to set that. We put a comma here, and we set that to the first name variable. All right, and then last name. Email. Oops. Phone. Okay, so there's our fields. Now we're going to have another parameter after this bracket. So let's put a comma, and then we're going to have our function. Okay, and that function is going to have an error if there is one, and then a reply. So we want to first check for the error. Okay, so if there is one, then we're just going to console.log it. Alright, and then if there isn't, actually we don't even need to put an else, then we're going to just console.log the reply, and we're just going to redirect. So res.redirect, we want to go back to the home page, so it's just slash. Alright, so let's save that, and let's go back to our application. Let's restart the server. Okay, and we'll reload. Let's get that active class off of the home link right there. So inside main handlebars, I'm just going to remove that active. Okay, so let's add another user. We know we have one at user 001. Let's say user 002. Okay, there's no user there. So we're going to add that. User 002. First name, let's say Kevin. And last name, we'll say Smithers, I guess. And say ksmithers@yahoo.com. And then phone number. And let's save. Okay, and then let's search for user 002. And there he is, Kevin Smithers. ID, email, phone number. So we can now add users through the application. So now what I want to do is I want to be able to delete these users as well. So let's put a delete button over here. Now we're using method overdrive, so we can actually just create a form with a button and we can delete it that way. Okay, instead of having to do like an AJAX request through jQuery or something like that. All right, so let's go to details.handlebars, and we're going to go right under the back button. Let's actually add a class to this back button called poll left, because we want that to float to the left. And then we're going to put a form here. So let's say form and give this a method of post, but it's actually going to be a delete. And the action is going to be /user/delete/ and then we need to put the user ID. Okay, now in order to use method override, we need to add a parameter here. So we're going to put a !_method and set that to delete. Okay, and this underscore method should be defined in your app.js right here. Okay, so we're using that underscore method. And then let's see, we can close that. And then we're just going to have one input, which is going to be a submit. And let's see, we're going to add a class of btn and btn danger, make it red, and then also poll right. All right, and then the value, so the text on the button is going to say delete. All right, let's save that and let's reload this. Okay, so now we have a delete. Now I'm going to click that. Oh, we didn't add the route. So we need to go to app.js and add that route. Getting a little ahead of myself. All right, so we can say app.delete, and that's going to be /user/delete/:ID. This will be request. All right, and what we want to do is call client.del. Okay, we're using the Redis del command, which right here, so removes the specified keys. A key is ignore if it does not exist. So let's say del, and then we want to pass in the ID, which we can get from params.id. Okay, we're using params because the ID is actually getting sent in the URL, not as a post body or a form body. All right, and once we do that, we're just going to redirect to the home page. All right, let's save that. Okay, and I'm just going to reload the server. Okay, so let's search for user 002. We get Kevin, we delete him, and let's search again for user 002, and the user doesn't exist. Okay, so I think that's going to be it, guys. This is a really simple application, but it shows you how to get started with Node.js and Redis, working with them both together. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you like this video, please subscribe, please leave it a like, and that's it. I will see you next time.